So, hello everybody and welcome. Yes, welcome and welcome back here at BSN Network. Hiduki back here, BSN Network. This is the BSN Network podcast here today. It is Thursday, May 13th. Hopefully everybody's having a good day so far and had a good rest of their day yesterday. It is in fact Thursday, May 13th here today. We got another sports pod ahead of us here, coming off of another big Yankees win last night. Garrett Cole has been dominant. Aroldis Chapman has been dominant. Arguably has been the Yankees in one of the better 1-2 punches in the MLB this season. As the Yankees get the job done yesterday, we get another series win. So the New York Yankees went from struggling to not hitting to doing nothing to now having another series win. We obviously had the 3 straight at home. We extend that today, or we extended that yesterday. Now today we go for the sweep against the Tampa Bay Rays. And, and I mentioned this a couple days ago, right? The Yankees hitting still isn't up to where we want it to be, right? They only had 6 hits last night, I believe. So they only had 6 hits last night. You want a lot more than that. We only scored 1 run. We were lucky Cole was dominant, and obviously Chapman has been arguably the best closer in baseball. He gets out there and gets the job done. The Yankees, obviously, our hitting still has not been completely what we want it to be, right? We have not, we're getting wins, and I'm not going to sit here and complain. I'm not going to be that fan that's like, oh, we're still not hitting. I understand that, but we still are getting into the groove with hitting. We still got to continue to try and get better at the plate. And, Judge had himself a day yesterday. 3-hit game. Had himself a day. And, he scored our only run. And that's what I'm talking about. Just that in itself. To see these guys build confidence and to get a hit here and there. That's as you slowly progress, you will get better. And the Yankees right now are cruising 20-16 on the year. We get another win yesterday. I said going into the series, let's just take at least 2 out of 3. I would love to get a sweep, but if we don't get the sweep, I'm okay with 2 out of 3 tonight. I would love to get the sweep. But, obviously, at least we won the series. At least we beat the Rays. It's crazy. We're beating the Rays. Saying that is just unbelievable because we don't do it often. The Yankees did get the job done last night. A good win. Like I said, Cole was on 8 innings, 12 strikeouts, 4 hits allowed, no runs, no walks. I believe he's had 57 strikeouts, since his last walk. So it's just... his command is on. It's just unbelievable. What he is doing. And, a lot of times you see pitchers, they get, more tired and maybe lose velocity throughout the game. Garrett Cole yesterday actually got better as the game went on. You saw him go out there in the 8th inning. It looked like he was going out there to something to prove. He doesn't have to prove anything more. He's arguably the best pitcher in baseball. He went out there with something to prove. He went out there knowing that Aaron Boone believed in him and went out there and gave him another opportunity. That's what he did. So, obviously, a big win for the Yankees. Nets also got the job done yesterday. The New York Knicks have clinched a playoff spot. I can't believe I'm saying that. No, it is not April Fool's. It's May 13th. But yes, the New York Knicks are going to the NBA playoffs. They have avoided the play-in series, so they will be playing another opponent in the NBA playoffs. And I don't know who that will be. Currently, right now, it's not the Atlanta Hawks. It's the Milwaukee Bucks. So if they stay the 6th seed and the Bucks stay the 3 seed, they will be playing the Milwaukee Bucks first round, which is big, 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 big for New York Knicks and the New York Knicks fans. Obviously a team who has stunk for so many years now, and they are finally getting better, and they're going to make the playoffs this season, and they are going to make the playoffs. They have clinched a playoff spot. So a lot went on last night. Yankees got a win. Nets got a win. Knicks didn't play, but with Boston losing, they clinched the playoff spot. So, a lot of good times in New York sports right now. A lot of good times in New York sports. Let's get into the topics for today, though. Continue to the New York sport theme. Obviously, like I said yesterday, the NFL schedule came out last night. I was watching the Yankees game, but I was, saw the Jets schedule, and I was, looking over it, and I'm going to do the Jets and Giants schedule. So I'm going to read through both schedules. I'm not going to go game by game by game by game. I'm going to kind of highlight some of the games that I think I'm going to do 3 to 5 like key games for each team. What the Jets' key games are and what the Giants' key games are. And I wanted to go into just kind of the records. And I'm not going to give you an exact record. I'm going to kind of give you in a ballpark of what I think, because it is very early. It's very, very early. Training camp hasn't even started. It is May, and I'm not trying to just make these random predictions based off of right now when we haven't even seen any of these guys go out there on the field together. So I'm going to kind of give you the ballpark of each of these teams' wins. I'm going to give you how many wins I think the Jets could get this season and how many wins I think the Giants could get this season, and kind of go through some of the games that we could win, some of the games that are toss-ups, big games, key games, games that are going to be really tough, games that you should automatically win. There's a couple games on each of these, the Jets and the Giants schedules that I would like to go through. So I'm going to get through them. Then I'm going to get through that's what I'll do for the first topic. Then I wanted to get into the NFL key games. So I'm going to look at the NFL schedule, and I'm going to kind of give you key games throughout, like the Buccaneers-Patriots. That's going to be a fun game. I mean, just kind of like the games to circle, like the games that on your calendar you want to circle and say, I can't wait for this game, right? Like there's certain games out there. Chiefs-Packers should be a good game. Week 1, Browns-Chiefs should be fun. Cowboys-Buccaneers to start off the season. Dak return. Brady and the Bucs going for back-to-back Super Bowls, right? Then you got the Patriots and the Bucs. Brady returned to New England, right? There's so many good games this year on tap, and I wanted to get through some of them, get through some of the really good games, some of the games that, could have, playoff implications, and some of the games that, might mean nothing. There might be a Week 5 game, but they could be a lot of fun to watch. So there's a lot of those games. I liked how the NFL did the schedule this year. It's the same as all the other years, but I feel like this year there's so many good games. Like there's the Chiefs, like to open up the year, we have the Buccaneers Cowboys. Like that's so much fun. Like everyone's waiting for Dak's return. Well, boom, it's the first game of the season. Dak could very well be taking the first offensive snap of the 2021 NFL season, depending on who wins the coin toss. I would assume if the Bucs win it, they're probably going to defer, but I'm not going to get into the coin toss. I just want to say that everyone's waiting for Dak. Since he went down, Cowboys fans have been just, waiting for Dak to come back. We've all been hoping that he comes back, stronger and better than he was. And he says he's ready. He says he's ready to go. And we'll see that all unfold in Week 1. So we'll get into all that stuff. Then we'll finish off the podcast with the New York sports update. Yankees played today. Mets yesterday got a win, like I mentioned. I don't know if I mentioned, actually, Matt Harvey's return, but the Mets got the win. Yankees, like I said, play today. They go for the sweep against the Tampa Bay Rays. And another thing I wanted to say was the Nets as well. So the Nets right now, as it stands right now, the Nets have 2 games left in the year. So Thursday and Friday, today and tomorrow, we have a day off. It's a weird schedule down the stretch. We had a back-to-back Tuesday, Wednesday, then we have today and tomorrow off, then we have a back-to-back Saturday, Sunday, and then we wait for the playoffs to begin. So the play-in series for the NBA starts May 17th, and I believe it goes to May 21st. And the regular playoffs start May 22nd. So 9 days is when the playoffs start. So, Saturday? Next Saturday, not this Saturday, the next Saturday is when the 2021 NBA playoffs start. So that's in 9 days. So that should be good. And obviously the play-in series is the play-in to get into the playoffs, and then it's actual playoffs. So, playoff basketball right around the corner. I'll just leave it at that. Playoff basketball right around the corner. Obviously, as a Nets fan, I just want it to be here already because I'm super fired up to watch some playoff basketball. It's going to be super exciting. A lot of good games, a lot of good teams are playing, and hopefully we get the job done against all those teams. So, with all that being said, this is the BSN Network podcast, and let's get right into it. So yesterday, like I mentioned, the NBA and NFL has announced its 2021 schedules for all 32 of the NFL teams. Now, I got to admit, the NFL did not do a great job of hiding it. The schedules, every year they get leaked, but as a matter of fact, I actually knew the Jets schedule before it came out. The entire Jets schedule got leaked, and then, sure enough, now it's the same exact schedule that was there. So, I knew some of the Jets opponents, and then after I was done recording the podcast, maybe a couple hours later, I was looking around, and I saw the entire Jets schedule, and it was leaked, and someone sent it out, and I'm like, okay, wow, and it kind of took the whole fun out of all the actual NFL schedule stuff. Other than the predictions, it's fun to watch, what everyone thinks, of, who's gonna win and stuff like that. So, obviously, I want to get into the Jets and the Giants schedule. So the Jets, like I mentioned yesterday, open up against Carolina. Giants open against Denver. I wanted to get into the Jets schedule, then the Giants schedule, and kind of break it down. I'm not gonna do a game-by-game, in-depth look at each game and really, they should win this game because of this and give you my game pick already. Okay, it's May 13th. I'm not going to talk about a game. I'm not going to talk that much about a game that's going to happen, week 15, right, or week 17, the final week of the season, the Jets play the Bills, right? So we'll see how it all plays out throughout the season. But I will make my prediction for the NFL season probably around in the summer or so. With the Jets, and I might do it that Friday going into the weekend of games. I might do it on the Thursday that we have the Buccaneers Cowboys game. That could very well be down the road. I might just do it sometimes in the summer if what I'm seeing out of training camp, just like that. It does go a lot into it. I don't just look at a team and say, oh, we should win. I do take a lot into it. You got to look at rosters, matchups. You also just got to look at overall, the team situation. How's this team offense compared to this team's offense? How's this team's defense? Like, for example, the Jets Week 5 played against the Falcons in London. The Falcons have a terrible defense. But at the same time, the Jets have a very young offense that's still going to be, working and meshing throughout the first part of the season. So, are the Jets going to go stomp all over the terrible defense? Or are the Jets going to, is it going to be a high-scoring game? What's it going to be like, that type of game? Now, the Jets and the Giants schedules, obviously, they both have their unique twist. The Jets only have one primetime game this season. The Giants, I believe, have a couple. So the New York Jets don't have many. The Giants have a primetime game second week of the season, and they have one week 8 against the Chiefs, and they might have more. But the Jets have one primetime game, then they have one NFL Network special. Their one NFL Network special is the 9:30 a.m. game against the Atlanta Falcons. That's in London, and they have a Thursday night game against the Colts. That's in Indianapolis. So the Jets will definitely have some opportunities, to try to win games, and they'll have two opportunities to nationally televised games. They have one primetime game, and then they have another NFL Network special, which is the morning game in London against the Falcons. That should be a good game, I would think. So what I wanted to do was just go through each game. Just read you when they play all the opponents each game. And I wanted to just say some things about the Jets schedule. Then I'll get into the Giants schedule. And there's a couple things right off the bat. You could just look at the schedule and go ahead and say, wow, like this is an easy win, or oh, this is going to be a tough part. Each schedule, you could break the schedule into about 3 parts. The beginning, like 5 games, 6 games, the second 5 to 6 games, and then like the final. Like you could break it into the first 6 games, the second 6 games, and then the other 6 games, right? You can kind of break it into those 2. And you could go by, okay, well, we might go 4-2 in this stretch, but 1-5 in the next stretch, or 6-0 in all these stretches, or this stretch, whatever. Let's get into the game by game. This is who the Jets play week by week. So the Jets open up the season. I talked about this yesterday, September 12th, at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on CBS against the Carolina Panthers. So that's their first game of the season. Open it up against the Panthers. Sam Darnold will play against his former team. Zach Wilson will make his first. Will take his first snap as a Jet quarterback in a regular season game. The second week of the season, the New England Patriots, we play them. That is a 1 p.m. Eastern Time game on CBS. The Jets have 13 1 o'clock games this season, and only 5 of them are on different times. And we have a to be determined on December 18th or December 19th game. That all depends on timing and stuff like that. Then week 3, we play a 4:05 p.m. Eastern Time game on CBS, September 26th. That's against the Denver Broncos. That's in Denver on the road. And then week 4, we play against the Tennessee Titans, home against the Titans. Week 5, we're on the road against the Falcons. That's the London game. Then week 6 is the bye week coming off of the London game. The Jets chose to take a bye week. Then week 7, we play against the New England Patriots. That's on the road. Something that was interesting about the Jets schedule is the Jets don't play an AFC East opponent until until November 14th. That's week 10 against the Bills. They play the Patriots twice, September 19th and October 24th. Before they play the Patriots twice before they play any other AFC East opponent once. So the Jets get done with the Patriots early, which I guess is good because the Patriots have dominated the Jets for the past decade or 2 decades. So I guess it's good to just get them out of the way. If you can try to win one of those games, that's great. Then you focus on, the other AFC East opponents. So coming out of our bye week, week 6, we then play the Patriots on the road. Then we go, then we're home against the Bengals. Then we're on the road against the Colts. That's a Thursday night game. Then we're home against the Bills. Then we're home against the Dolphins, away against the Texans, home against the Eagles, home against the Saints, away against the Dolphins, home against the Jaguars, home against the Buccaneers, and we close out the season against the Buffalo Bills. So the New York Jets, you got to first look at it at the first 6 weeks are going to be a lot. Like, the first 6 weeks of the season are going to be a lot for the New York Jets. Right? We play against the Panthers. We're home, away, we're away, home, then London, then a bye week, then you go back on the road. So the Jets to start the year have a lot going on. It's not that it's not going to be good. It's not that it's a hard schedule to start the year. It's just the fact that we're away, then we're home, then we're away, then we're home. Then you go to London, it's a bye week, then you come back, and then you're on the road again. So the Jets to start the year, the first 7 weeks, there's a lot going on. You go to London, you have a bye week, then you go back on the road right after London. You open up the season on the road, right? There's a lot going on in the beginning part of the season for the New York Jets, right? 4 of our first, 6 games are on the road. 4 of our first 6 games are going to be on the road. It's Panthers, Broncos, Falcons, Patriots are going to be on the road, and then Patriots and Titans are also going to be home. So 4 of our first 6 games are going to be on the road. Then you obviously have the bye week, week 6. So that could be tough for a young team like the New York Jets, right? Because a team that first 3 weeks of the season might still be meshing and still learning together. First week of the season, it might be a little rusty. That's with every team, especially for a young team like the New York Jets, though. And then you get to the second half of the schedule, and that's where you get some of your must-win games. You got the Bengals, then you have the Eagles in there, then you have the Jaguars, you have the Texans. There's a lot of winnable games to start off the second half of the season. So then you go week 8's home against the Bengals. That's a very good chance of you winning that game. Then it's the Colts. That's going to be tough, but I think the Colts also all depends on how the Colts are doing and how Carson Wentz is playing. Then you have the Bills. That's never easy. Then you have the Dolphins. Then the Texans, Eagles, Saints. These are 3 games that you circle if you're the New York Jets as games that you can easily win. The Texans, arguably the worst team in the league. Eagles, they probably are the worst team in the NFL. Then the Saints, their quarterback situation is a big issue. They obviously, their quarterback situation is a big issue. They obviously lost Drew Brees. So they're going to be rolling out with Jameis Winston or Taysom Hill. So it's a big issue there with the Saints. So I really believe, as much as people might not think the Jets can stand a chance in this game, I don't believe the Saints are going to have that good a year. They don't have a quarterback right now. Their quarterback situation is such a big issue. Their quarterback situation is such a big problem right now. People don't know what's going to go on with them. Is it going to be Taysom Hill, Jameis Winston? And if it is Winston, that guy can't throw the ball to his own team. He throws interceptions all the time. So that's how I see it. Now the Jets to finish off the year, it's a brutal schedule to finish off the year. It's a tough final stretch. You have the Dolphins, then the Jaguars, Buccaneers, and Bills. And you could even put the Saints in that category as a tougher team. Now, I don't think the Saints are going to be that good this year. But if they can find a way to get their quarterback. But you finish off the year with their final 4 to 5 games are going to be tough. It's the Dolphins. Now the Jaguars is winnable, but another team too that's in a situation like the Jets, very young. They're building for the future. Then the Buccaneers, that's going to be difficult, and the Bills, that's never easy either. Bills and Bucks, 2 top 5 teams in the league right now. So it's arguably 2 top 5 teams. I should put that in there. And like I mentioned, the London games against the Falcons, Thursday night games against the Colts. Now, I'm going to give you about 3 to 4 key games that you want to circle if you're a New York Jet fan and a football fan as well. Not literally. I'm just saying 3 to 4 games to watch out for this year that I very well think are going to be good games. I think you kick it off week 1, you got to circle that game. First of all, it's Zach Wilson's first game. People are going to tune in. People are going to want to watch that. A lot of people, including myself, think he's the future of the New York Jets at quarterback, okay? We want to see what he's all about. That's going to be his first regular season game, his first opportunity to make a mark on the NFL and New York Jets fans, right? So that game right there in itself is a game where you got to sit here and say that's a key. That's got to be a game you got to look at as, hey, go out there, win that game. And same thing for the Panthers. It's going to be Darnold too. Darnold's facing him against his former team. That's a game right there. That's one heck of a matchup to start off week 1. Another game I would circle too is I would go ahead. Now, this might sound a little crazy, but I would circle, and I'm going to go in order here. I would circle that Falcons game. Because, to be honest, I don't think the Falcons are that good. And the Jets are obviously still in a little bit of a rebuild mode. I do think we'll be better this year. But the Falcons, they don't have a good defense. So is that an opportunity for the Jets to go out there and run all over their defense? Could that be a game where the Jets blow up on offense and play really well? And the Falcons' offense is very good, and the Jets' secondary is going to be tested. I think that's going to be a very good game. I think the Falcons game is going to be a very good game. I know there's some people out there that think the Jets are going to crush the Falcons, and there's some people out there that think the Falcons are going to crush the Jets. I disagree with both of those. I think that's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a good game. I could see it going either way, honestly. I could see the Jets or the Falcons taking that game. Like I said, it's week 5. You got to see how both teams are playing. You got to see how injuries play out. You got to see if both teams are healthy going into that game. Then you'll really be able to tell. But that's another game, just looking at the schedule right now, that's your second game that you would want to circle. Another game I would circle is the Bengals game. Because the Bengals are going to have an interesting year, right? The Bengals are going to play teams, the Bengals are going to play a team, in the Jets that obviously is, young and stuff like that. I'm going to say this a lot today, but the Bengals are in a interesting situation. They have a very good receiving core. And a solid running back in Joe Mixon, and obviously got the quarterback down in Joe Burrow, but they don't got an offensive line. So, that's a game that I think is going to be close. Now, if they had an offensive line, I think the Bengals are going to have I think the Bengals would have a really good year if they had an offensive line, but they don't, and I think they will struggle a little bit this season. That's a game, too. I feel like that's a toss-up. Now, I don't know how I feel about going against the Patriots as a Jet fan because the Patriots always seem to dominate the Jets. But I would say you got to circle Zach Wilson's first home game. It's his first home game in front of the crowd, first home game at MetLife, first home game as a New York Jet. You got to circle that game, right? You got to sit there and say, that's going to be a good game. That could very well be them picking up their first win, or we could pick up a first win against Carolina and us go trying to push for 2-0 in that game. But I think that's going to be a good game too. That's another game you got to circle. So games I would circle as a New York Jet fan are Panthers, Patriots. Well, it's going to be Zach Wilson's debut, and the fact that it's going to be Darnold playing against his former team, and it's going to be Wilson versus Darnold. And in week 2, it's going to be Wilson's first home game, and just, Salah's first game being there against a rival. It's a new-look Patriots team. It's going to be a good game. Then another one I would say is the Falcons, because I think the Falcons have a lot of talent, but they don't got much talent on defense. I think the Bengals should be a good game. I guess you could circle that primetime game against the Colts. But I would even go ahead and say that Broncos game is going to be interesting too, because who's going to be the Broncos quarterback going into that game? Now, if the Broncos are in a situation like they were last year where their quarterback position's terrible, that could be a game the Jets go in there, destroy them, and come out of that with a victory. Now, if they have if their quarterback's playing good, like Drew Lock or someone, and they're playing well, they got the defense down, their offense is the question mark, Broncos can be a good team if they can get the quarterback down. So that's another game. You got to see how it plays out. So Panthers, Patriots, Broncos, I would say Falcons and Bengals are those type of games. And I would also say the Saints too. You obviously can go into the division opponents and the Bills and all them. But, those are going to be tough games. Now, games as a New York Jet fan I think we have to win are the Texans and Eagles. I think those are two games that are so winnable. Then I think the Broncos game is very winnable. I think it is. Now, if the Broncos can't play offense, that's a winnable game. The Bengals, I think, is also winnable. I think that's more of a toss-up, but I think that's also winnable. The Saints, I think it all depends on their quarterback. If Jameis Winston's having a terrible year, the Jets should win that game. If Jameis Winston's playing at least decent, That's going to be a tougher game because the Saints have a very good defense. But if you look at like 3 games that you got to win, I think it's the Texans, the Eagles, and I think the Jaguars could be winnable, but I also would say the Broncos. I think those are 3 games that like you got to get the job done. Now, some toss-ups are the Carolina Panthers. I think week 1, that's a toss-up. Because the Panthers, obviously, Darnold in a new offense, and obviously Wilson's first game, that could be a game where it could be either way. We obviously have the Titans in there, but that's going to be a tough game. Titans are a good team. I think another toss-up could very well be that Falcons game, although I don't think the Jets should have much of an issue against the Falcons. I mean, and especially, is Julio Jones going to be on the Falcons week 1? I mean, there's been a lot of stuff going on about the Falcons trying to trade Jones. I mean, if they trade Julio Jones, they took a big chunk out of their receiving core. So, but with all that being said, now, the Jets, I think, I'm going to give you my win total now. This is not the official win total. I also got to see how a training camp goes, and you just got to see what exact roster the Jets are rolling out there for week 1. That's down the road. But right now, May 13th, if I would have just put an estimate out there for how many wins the New York Jets would get, I would say this season, remember, 17 games, I would say the Jets this season get anywhere from about 6 to 8 wins this season. 8 being the best, 6 being the worst. I would think the Jets would really have to mess up to get below like 4 wins. I don't think the Jets are going to go 4-13. I really don't. I don't. This is a much improved Jets team with a really improved coaching staff. I don't think we're going 4-13. Now, let me tell you this. What I just said was all those possibilities were below 500. I don't think, like I said, I don't think the Jets are going to win the Super Bowl this year. Playoffs would be great. That's down the road though. This year is a year for the New York Jets to take a big step in the right direction. And that is being competitive. Now, I do think the Jets are going to be competitive. So we might only win 8 games and go 8-9 and miss the playoffs, but we might only lose games by a couple of score, or maybe we might only, last year we were losing games 40-3. We were getting crushed every game. I think this year we're going to be in almost every game we play. Now, there are some tough games. The Buccaneers are going to be a tough game. Titans are going to be tough. Twice against the Patriots, that's not going to be easy. And the Bills are, one of the better teams out there. The Bills are going to be tough. Buccaneers are going to be tough. Titans are going to be tough. But to be honest, you look at the rest of the teams. The Panthers, Broncos, Colts, Falcons, those teams don't scare me. They don't. And the Jets are rolling out a much better roster than they did last season. They've improved that receiver. Running back still a little bit of a question mark, but you hope you get it in Michael Carter. You improve that quarterback in Zach Wilson, or at least we hope that he's the answer. I do believe he is. Your defense had a pretty decent year last year. Your run defense is amazing. Early on, you go up against Christian McCaffrey. That's a big advantage to go up against McCaffrey and have a really good run. Christian McCaffrey, CMC, arguably the best running back in the league. So the run defense is going to get tested early. But I could see the Jets winning from about 6 to 8. Now, as much as I want them to win every game and win it all, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen, I don't think, for any NFL team. But I think the Jets are going to be competitive this year. I think they're going to be in games. They're definitely going to come out with some wins. I do think we might have a win here or there that many didn't expect. Maybe we go on the road and beat the Colts. Maybe we do. Go on the road, a Thursday night game, quick turnaround. That's a tough game to win. Maybe the Jets do it. Maybe the Jets, go, beat the Dolphins and then, beat the Texans and the Eagles, which should be automatically winnable games, and maybe they start up with the Dolphins, right? Like I said, I want the Jets to be back to a respectable level. And I think we do that this year. Now, if the Jets win 7 games and we go 7-10, it's not ideal, but it's at the same time, you won 7 games compared to 2 last year. But I could see the Jets going 8-9. And I could give you a week by week here. Panthers, if you want to toss that up, you could say they could win. The Patriots going to be tough. Broncos, you could see it happening, so that would be 2-1. Titans would be hard. That's going to be 2-2. Then Falcons, if that could very well be a win. That would be 3-2. I don't think we should have much trouble with the Falcons. Patriots going to be tough. That would be 3-3. So it'd be 3-3 in your first 6. Then the Bengals 4-3, Colts 4-4, Bills 4-5. Dolphins 4-6. Then you go 5-6, 6-6. And then that Saints game's like a toss-up. 7-6. And then the Dolphins, 7-7, 8-7. And you finish off the 2 games with the Buccaneers and the Bills. And you go 8-9. I don't think that's outrageous to say. Say whatever you want. I don't think that's outrageous to say. I don't think it's outrageous to say the Jets could beat the Bengals. I don't think it is. And like I said, and I understand, I'm a Jets fan. You heard me last week. 17 weeks of the season, each week I was ranting about the team. You know how it is. I don't sugarcoat things when it comes to the Jets, especially the Jets, because they have a team that have struggled for so many years now. With other teams like the Yankees and now the Nets, there's more optimism. The Rangers, right? We were competitive this year. There's more optimism. The Jets have been the laughingstock of the league for the past decade. So, you know how I am. I don't sugarcoat things. And I was even talking to someone yesterday about this. I'm very confident. I'm very excited about the New York Jets. I'm confident. And for those of you who are maybe just watching my pods now and think that I'm very, a very optimistic sports fan, I'm usually not this optimistic about the Jets. I'm usually not this optimistic, which is why sometimes I try to slow myself down a little bit. Like I try to look at the big picture and be like, is this really possible? But I'm very optimistic. I am optimistic this year about the Jets. I do believe we're headed in the right direction. I do believe we're going to be competitive. I do believe we're going to have a better team. I do believe we're going to be back to a respectable team. I don't think everyone's going to be, making fun of us this year, right? I really don't. I don't think everyone's going to be like, oh, they're laughingstock of the league. I don't. I think the Jets are going to be competitive. I think the Eagles and the Texans are the new laughingstock of the NFL. And I don't think that's outrageous to say. So, you could say whatever you want, but people don't, we got a new coach in Robert Saleh. This is just my opinion. There's Jets fans out there. There's some Jets fans out there that think we'll only win 6 games. Some people think there's some Jets fans out there that think we'll win 10. That might be stretching it a little bit. I would also have to see their reasoning behind it. But I don't think it's crazy to say the Jets could win 8 games this year. I don't think it's crazy. Look at the schedule. There's winnable games on here. And what I'm trying to do is, because I've done this before, you take last year's Jets team and put it against these teams, and this might be a 2-15 team. But if you take this year's Jets team and what we think they could be, with a solid offensive line finally, built around, Wilson in the receiving core, good defensive front. Your secondary is still a little bit of an issue. You got to hope that maybe we make a signing or 2 before the year starts. You got a new head coach in Robert Saleh, new coaching staff. I feel like this team in a way is a little bit of revamped. And I'm not saying the Jets are going to win the Super Bowl. I'm not. All I'm saying is the Jets are going to be competitive. I think we're going to be a respectable level. I think we're going to win some games. I do think we might, win some games that many people don't think we will win. I do. I could see us maybe going on the road and beating the Colts. That's going to be tough. Number 1, it's a Thursday night game. Number 2, the Colts have arguably the best defense in the league. And just Thursday night game on the road, it's just going to be tough. Thursday night games in general are tough, let alone on the road. You got about 1 day of practice in. It's a quick turnaround. So, they're always tough for either team. But maybe we get it done. So, I'm just excited. I'm very excited and optimistic on where the Jets are going. That's how I see it. If you don't believe, the fact that what a head coach can do, look at the Cleveland Browns. They were the laughingstock of the league for years now. They brought in Kevin Stefanski. They made the playoffs. Look at the New York Knicks. Laughingstock of the league for many years now. They've been a joke. Fighting and all this stuff. James Dolan being turning into a meme. They brought in Tom Thibodeau, and look, the Knicks clinched the playoff spot last night. So, head coaches can make a big difference. It's the truth. It really is. Look at the Giants. They were another team. Went from being, 3-13 to last season being 6-10. If the Eagles would have won, they would have been in. They would have been in the playoffs. Yes, it was 6-10, but hey, still, it's the playoffs. So, that's what I'm trying to say. And I believe Robert Saleh could do that with Jets. Bring us back to a respectable level. Be competitive. Don't get blown out. Win some games. Go out there and be, Go out there and, give the fans something to be excited about. Go out there and be in a game. Go out there and win, right? I do believe the Jets could do that. I think we have the talent, and I think we have the coaching staff. The future is starting to really shape up and be bright for the New York Jets. Alrighty, so let's get into Giants schedule now. Like I mentioned, I wanted to get into some of the Giants stuff. I got to get it up here. There's so many schedules I have. So the Giants this season have 3 primetime games. I just wanted to mention that. So 3 primetime games for the New York Giants. Alrighty, so this is the Giants 2021 schedule. So the preseason games actually for the Giants are the Jets, Browns, and then Patriots. I didn't read the preseason games for the Jets because they didn't have it up. Preseason, I could care less. Alright, so this is the Giants schedule. So the Giants are home against the Broncos, then away against Washington, home against the Falcons, away against the Saints, away against the Cowboys, home against the Rams, home against the Panthers. Then they're on the road against the Chiefs, home against the Raiders. Then they have their bye week, week 10. So the Giants actually have a pretty solid bye week. Now the Jets, for example, they have a bye week, week 6, then they have to play 12 games in a row in 12 weeks. Now the Giants, they have their bye week literally in a way like smack dab right in the middle of the season. Now week 9 would be exactly in the middle, but they have a week 10. So that's actually pretty good for the New York Giants. Then away will be, then they're away against the Buccaneers, home against the Eagles. Then they're on the road against the Dolphins and the Chargers. Then they're home against the Cowboys. On the road against the Cowboys and the Giants. Or rather, oh my gosh, what did I just say? On the road against the Eagles and the Bears. And then they wrap up their season against Washington. So right now, you got to look at it. And as a Giants fan, you got to circle the Cowboys games and that Chiefs game November 1st. That's a game you got to be like, let's circle it. That's a Monday night game, prime time in Kansas City. That's going to be arguably your toughest game of the season. Put it on. So, right there, looking at the schedule, the Giants, that's a tough game. That's not going to be easy. Now, something I noticed with the Giants here is they start off the season similar to the way the Jets do, with 3 of their 5 first games are on the road. They're home, then they're away, then they're home, then they have 2 on the road. So, week 1, I would think, I think the Jets could beat the Broncos, and I think the Giants could very well beat the Broncos as well. I really do. I don't think that's outrageous to say that the Giants could beat the Broncos. Now, like I said, a lot of what's going to determine on who I think take for this game is who's at quarterback for the Denver Broncos, because their defense is good, but if they don't have their quarterback down, their offense is terrible. You don't need to do much to beat them then. Then you got Washington, who I think is going to be a good team this year. Then you got them in a quick turnaround Thursday night. That's going to be an interesting game because it's going to be week 2. Like, it's going to be so weird. You got a game week 1, and you're going to be, boom, just like that, you're going to be back at it. So the Giants are going to have 2 quick games to start the season. And as the head coach of the New York Giants, if you're Joe Judge, you got to make it clear to your team to stay focused. Because the Giants and any team, and this has happened before with teams, where sometimes a team will play, a Sunday game to start off the year, to end the year or something, and you have a quick turnaround in a Thursday game. And you don't want it. Sometimes it just is so quick, and sometimes the players just aren't fully focused for a Thursday game. The Giants can't afford to lose against the Broncos and lose against Washington. Boom, you're already 0-2 to start the year. So, as much as I think the Giants will probably win week 1, I think they've got a really good shot at it. Then they play Washington. Washington and the Giants, I feel like, are a very similar team. In terms of offense being a little bit of a question mark, but defense being very good. So that's a big thing. Then you go to the Falcons. The Giants, if their offense could just play decent in this game, they could win this game. Then obviously the Saints. You know my feeling on the Saints. I don't think the Saints will have that great of a year this year because of their quarterback. I really don't. Their defense could be as good as they want. They don't got a quarterback. Cowboys. A lot of people might say this because I say the Cowboys are going to be good a lot. But to be honest, the Cowboys built their defense. They worked on their defense. I think the Cowboys are going to be an improved team this year. And they get Dak back too. So, I don't think the Cowboys are going to be easy. And the Giants have struggled against the Cowboys, especially at their place. They've not done well on the road against the Cowboys. Rams, they played the Rams last season. Then they got the Panthers, then on the road against the Chiefs, and then the Raiders. So I'm going to do what I did with the Jets. If you're a Giants fan, you want to circle a couple of these games. Here are the few games you would want to circle as a Giants fan. Okay, I think you got to circle that Washington game Thursday night. Because that could be a pivotal game. Even though it's week 2, that could be big. Because if you lost against the Broncos, let's just say the Giants lose that game, that's an opportunity to get a quick turnaround, get your revenge, and get on the win column. Instead of waiting a whole week to play again. Now, at the same time, if you lose against Denver, or if you win against Denver, that could be an opportunity to be quick 2-0. You could be the first 2-0 team in the NFL. So that could be like if you beat Denver, then you play Washington, you could be the first 2-0 team in the NFL. Like boom, just right off the bat, you could be the best. You could have the best record in the league. You could look at it that way. Now, if you lose against Denver, you can't afford to lose that game. Then you're 0-2, and you fall in a hole early where you find yourself climbing a little bit. So I think that second game is important. First game, it's the Broncos. I don't think the Giants should have much of an issue that game. Now, could I possibly go ahead and say when I make my Week 1 game pick that I think otherwise? Yeah. That's also because, spreads and odds and, Broncos quarterback. I mean, if Drew Lock's playing this game, I think it's going to be a close game. If he's not, and it's some other random guy, I think the Giants have no issue. Now, another game I would say if I'm the Giants is that Cowboys game, right? It's a division rival. You're on the road. Another one, like it's early in the year. I mean, the Giants' first 4 games aren't that difficult. They really aren't. It's the Broncos, Washington, Falcons, then the Saints. The Giants' first 4 games aren't that difficult. They really aren't. The one issue with it is Washington's on a Thursday night. That's going to be a tough game for the Giants. And then the Cowboys too. That's also going to be a tough game, but that's also on the road. So I would say Washington and the Cowboys, then the Rams, because that's just one of those games where, the Rams are a good team with Stafford and a good defense, and, the Giants' offensive lines had issues this year or last year, and they didn't really do much to build it up this season. That's going to be a game you want to circle. The Chiefs, that's another game as well. So you got Washington, Cowboys, Rams, Chiefs. And then to finish it off, you got to go coming off the bye week, well-rested on the road against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's a Monday night game as well. So that's another primetime spot. The other games, not that they aren't good games, but the Eagles you should have no issue with. And the Giants are lucky. They play the Eagles twice. Those should be 2 easy wins for the New York Giants. Now, like I did with the Jets, if I had to do a dry estimate for the New York Giants, I would say the Giants win anywhere from about 8 to about 10, maybe 11 games. 11 might be pushing it. So I think they could very well win Week 1 against the Broncos. Now, Week 2 against Washington, that's a 50-50 for either team. It's really whoever comes to play. It really is. Because if the Giants show up and Washington doesn't, it's going to be a train wreck for Washington. Now, if Washington shows up and the Giants doesn't, Washington's going to stop. I don't think that game's going to be close. I think that's going to be high scoring. I think that's going to be a blowout one way or the other. That's going to be an interesting game. Falcons, I don't think the Giants should have much issue with. So that would be like 2-3-0. Then Saints, I don't think. Now, the one issue with the Saints is their defense and the Giants' offense. But, Saints, I think, you give a win. So right now, you would say like 3-1 if they lose that Washington game. Then you go to the Cowboys. I don't think you win that game. That's 3-2. Then you go to the Rams. It's going to be tough. That's 3-3. So through your first 6, you would be about 3-3. The Panthers, I think you win 4-3. Chiefs, you lose. That's 4-4. Raiders, the Raiders, their offense isn't very good, and the Giants' defense is solid. I think you could win that game. So that's 5-4 then. The Bucs is about 5-5. Then you go on this little bit of a streak here where you go Eagles, that's 6-5. Dolphins, I think you might be able to beat the Dolphins there. It would be 7-5. Chargers would be tough. That's 7-6. Cowboys 7-7. And you finish out the year with the Eagles and the Bears, which I would say is 9-7. And in that Washington game to finish out the year could be the decider between 10-7 or 9-8. With the New York Giants. Now, if they do win that Washington game, you're what? If you do win that Washington game, they're 10-6 going into that Washington game. If you beat the Washington early in the year. I think you're going to get a good feel about how the New York Giants are about 5 games into the year. Because the Giants have winnable games. Broncos, Washington, Falcons, Saints are 4 winnable games. I mean, they are. And a lot of people might wonder why I'm so low on the Saints. It's because they lost Breeze. They don't have their quarterback. Jameis Winston, really? Is that the guy you want leading your team? I don't know about that. Then you have, obviously, the Cowboys, which I think the Cowboys are going to be good, so that's going to be tough. Rams are going to be tough. I don't think the Giants should have much of an issue beating the Panthers. I really don't. Then you go to the Chiefs. That's not a win. Bucks coming out of a bye week. It might be close, but I wouldn't say so. Then you get the Eagles. I don't think they should have any issue beating the Bears. Dolphins might be a toss-up. Now, I think what really depends on what happens with how the Dolphins is. I think what really depends with the Dolphins is what happens to Tua. And if Tua's playing well, that's going to be a tough game. But if you're going off of last year, that's going to be a pretty good win for the Giants. Like I said, I could see the Giants getting in here from 8 to 10 wins. 11's going to be tough. You're going to have to find a way to upset one of these teams. Whether that's the Rams, Chargers, Bucks, Cowboys once. You're going to have to figure out a way to get one of an upset here or there to try to get 11 wins. I don't know if the Giants go 11-7 or 11-6 actually. I could see them going 10-7. I could definitely see that. 9-8, I think tough. I don't know if the Giants finish below 500. They might. I mean, they would really have to mess up though. You'd really have to mess up to go 8-9 for the Giants. Now, like I said, Giants added some weapons around Jones. They got Barkley back. Their defense is solid. So, opportunity to go out and win some football games. If you're going to mark some of the toss-up games for the Giants, I think you could say in a way the Chargers game could be. The Dolphins game definitely is. Both Washington games I feel like are toss-ups. I think the Cowboys should be able to take care of business against the Giants. Chiefs is hard. Rams is hard. Panthers, I think they should have no issue. Raiders, that could be, like I said, you got to kind of see how the season's playing out. Then you can kind of decide on that game. So, but, just a dry estimate, I think 10 wins is a realistic possibility for the New York Giants. Right? I think it is. You could call me crazy and say that they should win more or less. I don't really think they should win 11, 12 games. I don't think the Giants are going to go out there and go 12-5. I don't think they'll do that. They're still building on offense. I don't think the Giants are going to go out there and go 12-5. They might win 10 games. I think 9-10 is a realistic expectation and possibility. I think it is. 11-12, anything out of that, I think that's pushing it a little bit. Because you have some tough opponents. You got the Rams, Chiefs, Buccaneers, Cowboys twice. Those are 5 tough games. So let's just say that that's the case. That's 5 losses. I don't really know. I don't really know if then you mix in some of the other games like Washington. Maybe you split. That's 6. Then you lose another game like the Chargers. 7. I mean, if you look at the Giants' schedule, it's not that hard to understand that they could very well win 9 to 10 games. I think that's a possibility. So, but I think both. I think for New York football, I think it's going to be an exciting year. I mean, in terms of competitiveness and going out and winning some football games and playing football at a respectable level. I definitely could see it going well. So, but that's what I got there. So, with that being said, that's what I got for the Jets and the Giants schedules. Now, coming up next, I'm going to get into some of the NFL stuff. So, some of the big NFL primetime games to look out for to start the season. Alrighty, so let's see here. Alrighty, so now this was interesting. So obviously we all know about the Buccaneers-Patriots game that's going to happen week 4. Obviously tickets are already out for that game. Bucs versus Patriots tickets selling for as much as $8.8 $50,000 for Tom Brady's return. And there was an image someone sent out. Section 311, row 22 on Ticketmaster sells for $1,400. So there ain't no cheap tickets in that game. I will be watching that game gladly on the television. Not spending $1,400 to go to New England to watch Tom Brady come back. I wonder. I don't. They're not gonna boo him, but I wonder how. They better not boo him. If they boo Brady, that is just. They would be jealous then. That's like jealousy right there. Because Brady, Brady's the reason why the Patriots franchise is relevant. If Brady doesn't go to the Patriots, I don't know if they're that good. It's not. That's not even a no. I don't know. It's a fact. They wouldn't be that good. They might make the playoffs here and there, but the Patriots have been a rebuilding franchise for a long time, and then Brady got there, and they were the face of the NFL, face of sports in a way. So $1,400 in Ticketmaster. It makes sense. Not that it's gonna happen. They're gonna be a lot of money, the tickets, because it's Brady's return. It's first of all, it's week 4, so it's early in the year. But week 4, you have 2 3-0 teams battling it out. Now the Bucs did start off slow last season. We got to see what this new look Patriots team's all about. But that's another thing too. Who's going to be the quarterback? Is it going to be Mac Jones versus Brady or Newton versus Brady? Who's going to be the quarterback for the New England Patriots? There's so many questions, which is why it's tough to sometimes name and try to predict all these schedules when some of these teams still have a lot of questions to be answered. But I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what some of these games have in store. Alrighty, so I wanted to get into some of the big games. Obviously, the big time, prime time games that a lot of people are going to look at. Really, games to just look forward to, and All right, so let's see here. So, all right, so 2020 now. Okay, so top 9 primetime games. Okay, so there's obviously going to be a lot of really good games. And I could just name a couple off of my head. Bucs Patriots is going to be a good game. Bucs Cowboys to start off the season is going to be a good game. Then you got, other games like the Chiefs Browns. You're going to have, you're going to have obviously all your division games. You're obviously going to have, what was I going to say? Now, from a New York sports standpoint, you're going to have Jets-Panthers, which I think is going to be a fun game to watch. There's a lot of good games. Obviously, primetime games are usually the big games that people, like to watch and people like to talk about because it's the primetime. Everyone watches those games. But to be honest, if you're looking at, some of the other games, is the Chiefs and the Bucs and the Browns, and then, the Browns Chiefs should be good. You got Bucs. The Bucs Cowboys is going to be a lot of fun. Then you got the Buccaneers Patriots, Brady's return to Gillette. I think that might be the highlight of all these games because you got to look at it as, if you rank them, most people are going to rank that one as the number 1 game. So these are the top 9 primetime games based off of NFL.com. So number 9 is the Green Bay Packers at the Arizona Cardinals. Now the Packers, I believe, have the most primetime games. But it's going to be interesting because is Aaron Rodgers going to be their quarterback? And I've said that a lot today because there's a lot of questions to be asked about which team will have, which guy will be taking the field for their respective teams. The big Packers-Chiefs game, primetime game, is that going to be Packers-Saints? Packers-Chiefs, is that going to be Mahomes versus Love? Is the Saints-Packers game going to be Love versus Winston? There's a lot of questions to be asked there. But it's the Packers-Cardinals. Then you got the Steelers-Chargers. Rams-Seahawks. Browns-Ravens, that should be good. Divisional opponent. Week 12, too. That could have some meaning. Jaguars-Bengals, I don't know how I feel about that. That's 2 number 1 picks battling it out, I guess. That's a Thursday night game, but, to be honest, not that's not going to be a good game, but that's not a game that, everyone's going to be like, oh my gosh, that's going to be, Chiefs-Ravens should be good. An opportunity to see if Ravens, that's a Jackson Mahomes. That's Jackson versus Mahomes there. That is week 2. So that's a Sunday night game, week 2. Then you got the Cowboys-Buccaneers. That's the opening game, which is obviously, that's going to be a lot of fun. Because, to be honest, you got Dak's return, who's everyone waiting for. And then you got Brady coming back with the Bucs. Then you got the Bills-Chiefs. That should be a good game. That's a Sunday night game that's week 5. And then you got the Buccaneers-Patriots, week 4. That's the Sunday night game on NBC. Brady. It shouldn't even be that. It should be Brady returns to New England. It shouldn't even be called the Bucs-Patriots. It should be Brady returns to New England. Bucs-Patriots. So, I didn't want to spend crazy amount of time on that. Those were just some of the games. And obviously, throughout the season and throughout the offseason, we'll see more and more and more. See how many, more games there are and some of the other big time games. But, definitely right off the bat, you're looking at, and there's a lot of really good games. There is. And I thought the NFL did a good job of incorporating a lot of the good games and incorporating a lot of the big name players on prime time, get ratings and a lot of that good stuff. So, with all that being said, let's get into the New York sports update to finish off this podcast here today. As for the NBA yesterday, the Lakers won, Trailblazers won, Mavericks won, Cavs won, and Hawks won. Nets also won yesterday, 128-116. We moved to 46-24 on the season, so a big win there. As for today's games, we got the Bucks Pacers. I'll give Bucks the win. Clippers Hornets give Clippers the win. Heat 76ers give Heat the win. Hawks Magic give Hawks the win. Knicks Spurs give Knicks the win. Grizzlies Kings give Grizzlies the win. Nuggets Timberwolves give Nuggets the win. Bulls Raptors give Bulls the win. And Suns Trailblazers give Suns the win. As for the NHL, yesterday the Avalanche won, Blues won, Golden Knights won, Senators won, and Oilers won. And as for today, we got the Blues Wild. I'll give Blues the win. Flames Canucks. I'll give Flames the win. And Avalanche Kings. I'll give Avalanche the win. As for the MLB, yesterday the Dodgers won, Marlins won, White Sox won, Astros won, Phillies won, Brewers won, A's won, Rockies won, Blue Jays won, Tigers won, Padres won, Indians won, Reds won, and the Mets won. Mets got the job done against Harvey there. Yankees also won yesterday, 1-0. Moved to 20-16 on the season. Another big win for the Yankees. 3-hit game for Judge. Cole was just dominant. And then, obviously Chapman. Chapman hasn't allowed a run yet this season. And then, obviously, Cole. I was talking to someone yesterday about this. Cole and Chapman arguably are one of the better 1-2 punches in the league. With just in regards of just dominance. Like, it really is. You get done with Cole and you're like, oh, sigh of relief, he's out of the game. Then you bring in Chapman. And that's like, oh my gosh, it's a whole other thing. So, another big win for the Yankees. Cole was dominant. As for today's games, we got the Blue Jays, Braves. I'll give Blue Jays the win. Nationals, Phillies. I'll give Nationals the win. Tigers, Royals. Why not give Tigers the win? Actually, probably Royals will probably win, but might as well just give Tigers the win. Cardinals, Brewers. Cardinals the win. White Sox, Twins. I'll give White Sox the win. Giants, Pirates. Give Giants the win. Red Sox, A's. Give Red Sox the win. Astros, Rangers. Give Astros the win. Reds, Rockies. Give Reds the win. Marlins, Diamondbacks. Give Marlins the win. Indians, Mariners. Give Indians the win. Yankees also play today. Yankees coming in this game 20-16. Rays coming in this game 19-19. Jameson Taillon's on the mound for the Yankees. Rich Hill's on the mound for the Rays. This game goes on today, 7:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on MLB Network. You can also find this game on Yes Network. Give me the Yankees and give me the sweep. Get the brooms out. Give me the sweep of this series. As for fantasy baseball, I'm currently losing 152 to 123. But today I've got going Yerman Mercedes is in the lineup, but Luke Voigt, Gene Segura, Josh Donaldson, Carlos Correa, Marcus Semien, Alex Bregman, Whit Merrifield, Austin Meadows, Victor Robles, Jorge Soler, Dylan Carlson, and Matt Olson. And I also got Zach Eflin on the mound. So, hopefully they get the job done. Injury update is as followed. Christian Yelich with his injury news here. This won't load now. Yelich played it. He was on the IL. Then he came back. played one game, and went back on the IL. So Yelich has been in quite the situation in terms of injuries this season. But he got some positive injury news from him in regards to him getting back out there. Now, a lot of these players, it's much helpful, I feel like, this year with AAA being back and the minor leagues being back. It's much better, obviously. So they could play these games, the simulated games in the minor leagues. It's definitely really helps these guys. But this is the injury update for Yelich. Yelich back will begin a rehab assignment with AAA Nashville on Friday. Will Sam under the Athletic reports. As for fantasy basketball, I'm currently losing 1,970 to 1,934. Today I've got going, I don't even know. This is pretty crazy. So, there's so many up there. I mean, my fantasy basketball team just is a walking injury. So, it's Lowry, Hield, Butler, Valanciunas, Trae Young, Pascal Siakam, Fred VanVleet, and P.J. Washington. I'm not even going to read the injury update. We'll see if those guys play. As for fantasy hockey, I'm currently losing 370 to 299. But today I've got going on to Kopitar, Johnny Gaudreau, Braden Shen, Brock Beausier, David Perron, and Justin Falk. And I got Cam Talbot and Jacob Markstrom in goal. Injury update is as followed in here. Petrie, undisclosed, will sit out Wednesday's game against Edmonton. Arpin Basu of the Athletic Report. So he was out there. No new news on Stamkos. And Semyon Varlamov is day-to-day. Varlamov, undisclosed, once again didn't practice with the Islanders on Thursday. Andrew Gross of Newsday reports. So we'll see how that plays out there. That's big for playoffs. That's not really for fantasy hockey. That's big for playoffs. So we'll see how all that plays out. And hopefully, now I'll be making my playoff bracket very soon for fantasy for the NHL and the NBA. Obviously, NBA there's still some seeding stuff that's got to went down, but NHL it's already whenever the playoffs start. But to be honest, I mean I might just make it and just roll with it. I have a good idea of who I think is going to win the NHL Stanley Cup. I won't say, but I do have a good idea who I think will do it. So. But anyway, with all that being said, that will do it for the podcast here today. Another very good podcast in the books. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. I will see you all back here tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed it. And thanks for watching.